be here. For those that I haven't met before, my name is Tiff. I look after Uniworld here in Victoria and Tasmania. For those of you that are outside of Victoria and Tasmania, I will send through the details of your local reps as well. But I am very excited to chat a little bit about not only some Uniworld updates, but also just give you an insight into what we are going to be doing in the next couple of years beyond the rivers. So from 2027, we're excited to be able to take your clients a little bit further than the rivers can currently take them with some of our land programs, which we'll get to. But what I just want to do at the very beginning, spend 5 minutes or so just giving you a little recap on Uniworld itself as a brand. And for those of you that know us, it'll be a nice little refresher. For those of you that aren't as confident putting Uniworld in front of your clients, hopefully this will give you just a few USPs. I want to begin by saying that 2026 is our 50th anniversary. So we've been on the rivers since 1976. We have evolved a lot in that time. I think we've really carved out a niche in the river cruise space, and I do quite honestly believe that there's nobody doing what we do on the rivers to the extent that we do it. So for those of you that are familiar with us, you will know that our pride and joy at Uniworld are our ships. We have a fleet of 17 ships currently. That is expanding. We've got a few more coming over the next few years, but currently we have 17. 12 of them are in Europe, and then 5 of them are outside of Europe. But the thing that really makes us different is that every single ship is completely unique. It's designed based on the region that it's sailing in. So our guests are having all of these wonderful immersive excursions when they're on the shore, immersing themselves in local culture, and we want that to continue when they come back to the ship. So I've just put a couple of my favorites up there, and we will talk the top left and the bottom right, that's Paris and Venice respectively. We're going to talk about that a little bit in more detail in a second. But if you look to the top right there, that's the Maria Theresa. She currently sails on the Danube. And I just wanted to highlight her. She is like a Baroque palace. She looks like, you know, you could be stepping on board and staying in Schönbrunn Palace in Austria. But I want to just highlight her because I'm going to show you a couple of images of our new ships that we've got coming over. Sorry, what was that? Oh, so we've got some new ships coming on the Danube over the coming years. So I just wanted to show you the difference in every single Uniworld ship will have a story behind it and will be authentic to the region, but we've just got some new flavors coming to that part of the world. So a lot of you will have seen this already, probably. So the SS Emily has just debuted this year. She's our brand new ship for 2026. She's named after Gustav Klimt's muse, who was a woman called Emily Flo. She was an Austrian fashion designer in her own right, but of course, now she's more known for being Gustav Klimt's muse. But I think she's going to be a really interesting alternative to offer to your clients. If they want to sail in a Baroque palace on the Maria Theresa down the Danube, they can. If they want to sail in something a little bit more modern, a little bit more Art Nouveau, we've got the Emily, and she's absolutely stunning. And then in 2027, joining her on the Danube, we have the SS Marlene, named after Marlene Dietrich, who was a German actress and cabaret singer. Stepping forward a bit in time, so she's a bit more Art Deco, very, very, very elegant. She's actually my favorite of all of the new builds. And then just quickly joining her in 2027 on the Rhine, we have the SS Audrey, named after Audrey Hepburn. I actually didn't know this, but Audrey Hepburn was born in the Netherlands and then raised in the Netherlands and in Belgium. So I think she's a perfect namesake for something that is going to sail down the Rhine and around the Netherlands. And then our final ship for 2027 that I have imagery for is the Sal Raphael. So I know ships are supposed to be female, but this is a boy ship. The Sal Raphael is going to join his brother ship, the Sal Gabriel, on the Douro in 2027. So we're actually doubling our capacity. So lots of options in Portugal for your clients from next year. And just a bit of a recap, we are a completely all-inclusive river cruise line. So we're 5-star luxury, all of your tipping, all of your beverages, it's beverages 24/7, just as a reminder. So that's wines, beers, spirits, cocktails, whatever they want, whenever they want it. All of your foods included, a choice of multiple shore excursions every single day. If your clients are booked in a suite, they will have their personal butler. And then something I'll highlight that a lot of people don't think about until they're 3 weeks into their Europe trip is our onboard laundries. So every single one of our ships in Europe has an onboard laundry. You can go down at any time and put a load on. If you're in a suite, of course, your butler will do your laundry for you. And if you're a past guest, you'll get laundry included as well. But everyone else can just pop down and do a load at any time. And that's always the first thing I do when I step on board one of our ships, is take advantage of that laundry. So just as a recap, we sail pretty much on all of the rivers currently in Europe. So we've spoken briefly about the Douro. France is our biggest seller out of Australia. So our 3 itineraries in France. We're going to talk in more detail about Paris and Normandy in a second, but we're also in Bordeaux and we're in the south of France as well. The Rhine and the Danube are our bread and butter, as they are for most river cruise lines. Something that we'll go into again in a little bit is our itinerary in Venice, which is quite unique to us. And then outside of Europe, we're on the Amazon, we're on the Mekong, we're on the Nile, and we're on the Ganges. So there's lots and lots of options. We're not going to cover them all today. What I want to do is just focus on 2 of our existing itineraries, which is Venice and Paris, and then talk about how you can incorporate some land into those itineraries coming from 2027. So we are very excited to be expanding beyond the rivers. A lot of you may have already heard that we are taking on our sister brand at TTC, Luxury Gold. So Luxury Gold's coming out of the Insight portfolio and coming into the Uniworld portfolio, which I think is just a beautiful matchup. The brands align so well together. So we're able to do some small group, really focused luxury tours, not only in parts of the world that we currently don't go to, like Japan and Canada and all of that, but we've been able to pair up some of our existing cruise itineraries with the Luxury Gold land itineraries to create these longer, really immersive, in-depth journeys, which I think are going to be great for the Australian market because none of our clients are going all the way to Europe to do a 7-night river cruise. They're going for 3 or 4 weeks. So I think these are really going to hit the nail on the head. And then I'll talk a little bit about our Cruise and Rail program as well. So in Europe, we're partnering with Golden Eagle Trains. And I think river cruising and rail travel, they attract the same customer. These are the same people. So again, a great option to offer your clients. If they're into one or the other, they're likely to be interested in the cruise or the rail side of things. So I want to just begin by touching on our itinerary in Venice. Some of you will know this already, but a lot of people don't. This is very, very unique to us. And it's something I would be highly surprised if you had a client that came in and asked for a river cruise in Venice, unless they knew about the Uniworld itinerary. We are the only cruise line that's able to dock in the Venetian Lagoon. This is a 7-night itinerary, but it's not 7 nights in Venice itself, which in my opinion is probably 4 nights too many. I've been to Venice a number of times and you don't need 7 nights in Venice itself, but we actually cruise around the whole lagoon. So we are exploring the whole Veneto region. We go as far south as Chioggia, which is a little fishing village. We're going inland to Padua, and we're just exploring all of the islands around the Veneto as well. Our little floating boutique hotel in Venice, the La Venezia, I challenge you to find a 5-star hotel in the center of Venice that is better value than our ship in the Venetian Lagoon. She's stunning. She looks like you could be sailing and sleeping in the Doge's Palace, except no one's going to kick you out at 5 o'clock when it closes. Full of gold gilding and velvet. It's very, very Venetian, very, very over the top, but has some of the best views of any 5-star hotel in Venice. And when you factor in the fact that it's all inclusive and all of your activities and food and beverages are included, I think it's a no-brainer. If you've got river cruising clients and they're going to Venice, it's worth suggesting a cruise in the Venetian Lagoon because they probably haven't thought of it before. Now, this itinerary has one of my favorite examples of what I believe sets us apart on the land, and that's in terms of our shore excursions. What we do where we can is try and give our clients and our guests a really exclusive VIP money can't buy experience where we can. And I think we hit the nail on the head in Venice. I'm about to show you a slide that is not what you would expect on a Uniworld itinerary. This is just something I pulled off Google Images, and a lot of you will be familiar with scenes like this. This is St. Mark's Square and the Doge's Palace, but if you haven't been there, I'm sure you've been to another landmark where it's just crowded, full of people, you can't see anything, you're being shuffled around. That is not the experience that we give our guests when we are in Venice. We actually get to go into St. Mark's and we get to go into the Doge's Palace privately after hours, after they are closed to the public, and we get scenes like this. So it's quiet, we have the place to ourselves. When we go into the Basilica, we go in there with an art historian. We get a beautiful lighting ceremony of all of the domes. And you can get photos like this without having to remove anyone with AI. That's just, I would hands down go back to Venice. I've been, I think, 3 or 4 times. I would go back on this cruise just for this experience to go into those places by myself. It's, I think, such a phenomenal experience. The other thing I really love about this itinerary is that when we are in Burano, we actually have a dock in Burano, so we're there overnight. For those of you that don't know, it's a very, very popular island for day trippers. So during the day, it gets flooded with all of the people day tripping out from the mainland, but we're there overnight. So we, after everyone has left or before everyone has woken up and gone out there in the morning, we actually have the island pretty much to ourselves. It's us and the locals, which I think is phenomenal. Now, Italy is one of my favorite countries in the world, and so far we've only been able to take our guests as far as the Venetian Lagoon goes, because that's as far as the ship will go. But from 2027, bringing on Luxury Gold into our portfolio, we're now able to combine some cruising and some touring. This is just one example. We've got, I think, 6 or 7 of these cruise and tour combinations available already, but this is just one example that I think highlights what you can expect with a Luxury Gold Uniworld pairing. And just to give you a heads up, from the end of this year, they say from the end of this year, but don't hold me to that on the date, but eventually we will end up losing the name Luxury Gold and it will just become a Uniworld product, and we will just be a cruise and tour luxury product. So at the moment we're still using Luxury Gold because that's still the name of the brand that everyone's familiar with, but eventually it will just become Uniworld. But for this example, I just want to highlight and give you a refresh or bring to your attention the main USPs of what you would expect on a Luxury Gold tour, and just give you some examples of how that applies to our itinerary in Italy. So the big points of difference in the USPs for Luxury Gold are your traveling concierge, the hotels that we stay at, we call them magnificent stays, exceptional dining. So we're talking about Michelin-starred restaurants and those real money can't buy dining experiences, and curated experiences and VIP access. So they're the 4 sort of brand pillars. The one that I'm the most excited about, I think, is our concierge service. So when you are on a Luxury Gold tour, you're not traveling with a tour guide per se. We call them traveling concierges. So their job is to accommodate all of your guests' needs, to provide recommendations, personalize their stays. They have local knowledge. They really act like a hotel concierge. So, and remember, with Luxury Gold, it's a small group tour, so it's a maximum of 24, but the average guest numbers are 16 on these tours. So you have one dedicated tour concierge that gets to know, 16 or 18 guests really, really in depth over a extended period of time. So looking at something like the Italy itinerary, which is 19 days in one country, they have a lot of time to get to know these guests really in depth and provide recommendations to them based on what they enjoy. Some of the most exciting things about the Luxury Gold itineraries that I have seen are the hotels that we stay in. So we are talking 5-star boutique hotels that are really, really hard to get into. So just to give you an idea, we are currently booking our allocations in all of these hotels in Europe for 2029. That's how far in advance we have to get these allocations sorted. I just wanted to highlight on the Italy itinerary, when we're in Capri, we actually stay on the island. So we're not staying on the mainland, but we're staying at the Grand Hotel Kisisana. I don't know if anyone has heard of it before, but very, very famous hotel in Capri. It's had a whole host of famous historical figures that have stayed there, like Ernest Hemingway, Jean-Paul Sartre, some more recent icons like Jennifer Lopez. So it's a very, very sought after hotel, and we get to stay there. And that's just one example of the kind of accommodation that you can expect on the land portion of a Luxury Gold Uniworld itinerary. Dining, I think in Italy is particularly important, but it's important everywhere you go. So where we can get into a Michelin star restaurant, we will. On this itinerary, again in Capri, we are eating at Le Monzu, which is a Michelin starred restaurant on the island. We also get to do a private cooking class when we're in Tuscany at Villa Dianella, which is, for those of you that know a little bit about history, it's a former Medici hunting lodge. So anyone that is familiar with some Renaissance history will know who the Medici are in Italy. But we get to do a private cooking class with the chef there, and then eat for lunch. We get to eat the food that we have cooked, paired with the local wines from the estate as well. And then the final pillar of Luxury Gold is actually the thing that sold me on the product in the beginning. I was, to be honest, a little bit hesitant about taking on Luxury Gold into our portfolio because I love Uniworld. I'm very, very proud of Uniworld, and I think it's a great product. And I was just a little bit concerned about having to sell something that I didn't quite think was up to our standard. But then I found out that on the Italy itinerary, Luxury Gold get to go into the Doge's Palace privately after it has closed to the public, just like we do at Uniworld. And I was like, okay, that's fine. That's the standard that we are setting. So it's that same level of VIP access that you get on the land portion of the Luxury Gold itineraries. And I think that's what makes the two brands such a perfect marriage. And I honestly can't believe TTC haven't put them together sooner. But I think it's going to be really, really exciting. So just pivoting slightly, I want to briefly touch on another one of our cruise itineraries and then talk about how we compare that with rail with Golden Eagle. So we're looking at Paris and Normandy now. I have been talking about this non-stop for the last couple of months because I just got back from this itinerary in March and loved it so, so much. The cruise is 7 nights on the Seine. It's a Paris round trip. We get to go all the way up through Normandy. We are not supposed to have favorite ships at Uniworld, but I think the Joie de Vivre is my favorite. She was like old world Parisian romance, absolutely stunning. We have a saying about this ship that I finally get after being on the ship in person. But the saying that we have is that the ship may leave Paris, but Paris never leaves the ship. And that's certainly true. When you come back on board, you really, really feel like you're still in Paris. I want to highlight two excursions that we do on this itinerary that, again, I think are great examples of that VIP access that we get at Uniworld. This is going to be another scene that a lot of you are familiar with. These are all my own images as well, by the way. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to just highlight the reality of what life is like at Versailles. A lot of you will be familiar with these kind of scenes if you've been to Versailles before. You're greeted with a huge line when you arrive there. We actually, in our small Uniworld groups, there were groups of about 15 to 20, and we have our tour guide with us. We actually got to bypass this giant queue to get in. We went up on the right of the image there. There's a little secret door that we got to go through with our tour guide. When we're inside the estate, we go into two main areas of Versailles. One is the public spaces, which are open to everyone. And of course, there's no way to avoid all of the people. The Versailles itself is phenomenal, but again, a lot of people want to see it, so there is no way to avoid the crowds in the public spaces. But in addition to all the public areas, we also get to go into the King's private apartments, which are closed to the public. So they're open just for Uniworld. And again, just the juxtaposition of having all of those crowds and then going into this space that is just yours and is private and quiet. You can go in and you can't touch anything because they will get you on that, but you can go up and inspect things closely and take your time. We also got to go into the King's private chapel. This is actually roped off. So while we were inside the chapel, we could actually see all the members of the public on the outside kind of looking in, and they couldn't go past the rope. So we actually felt very, very smug while we were in there looking at all of the, the members of the public, wondering why we got such VIP treatment going into the King's private chapel. So that was a very, very special experience. And then the other place I want to highlight on this itinerary where we do something like this is in Rouen. We go into the cathedral not only by day, but we also go back at night after it has closed, which is an experience in itself because being in a cathedral at night is completely different to being there during the day. But we let in through a side door and we get to go in and have a private choir performance in the cathedral. There were just about 90 Uniworld guests in there, and I think this is one of my favorite experiences that I've had, not only on a Uniworld trip but on any trip. It was just, I had goosebumps. It was so, so wonderful to hear this choir sing in this Gothic cathedral that's centuries old, and have it just exclusively for Uniworld. I think that was such a phenomenal experience. So I just wanted to highlight those two because I think they just provide such a good example of what you get when you cruise with Uniworld. Now, very, very quickly, we do have a cruise and tour combination that we're combining with our Paris and Normandy itinerary. So you can do a luxury gold tour in Britain beforehand. So going from Edinburgh down to London, then boarding the Eurostar and embarking on that cruise. But what I want to highlight here is our option to pair up this cruise with rail. And our cruise and rail program, so we partner with Golden Eagle trains in Europe, which I know many of you will be familiar with. This is probably my favorite of the itineraries that we offer, where we've paired up one of our cruises with one of their rail products. So like the cruise and tour programs, this is something that it's one booking, the dates magically line up because we have worked that out for you, and that's always 90% of the problems is trying to get your dates to line up. But these not only are locations that we have decided work really, really well together, but the itineraries just magically line up. It was like they were designed to be paired together, and it's only taken us a few years to get there. Probably my favorite of the itineraries is the Istanbul to Paris leg. I think it's such it's the epitome of that kind of golden age of travel. You think the Orient Express doing that big long Istanbul to Paris leg, they do it in 5 days. We do it on Golden Eagle in 7 days, so it's a slower journey, and then you get that 7 nights on the Seine once you get to Paris as well. Now, when you're on Golden Eagle, I think river cruise people and train people they're cut from the same ilk. They are, if they're into river cruising, they're going to be into trains as well. And I think you get that same experience of having your hotel move with you. You get to unpack once, not in a floating hotel in this instance, but in a gliding hotel. Golden Eagle is all inclusive as well. We would not pair up with a brand that didn't align with the Uniworld values. So it's an all-inclusive experience, all of your excursions, all of your food and beverages. When your clients book on one of these Uniworld's cruise and rail itineraries, they actually get a dining car reserved just for the people on the Uniworld's the Uniworld and Golden Eagle experience. So they get their own private dining car. And then, of course, your accommodations. Rail is even smaller than river cruising, so the cabins are tight, but they are stunning. Every single cabin on the Golden Eagle trains does have its own private ensuite, so they don't have to share a bathroom with anybody. They will have their spaces arranged for the day to the night, so they'll convert the like day beds into beds so that they sleep at night. So space is limited, but they do work really, really well with the space that they're given. So that's one example of our cruise and rail itineraries. We do have a lot of others. There's about 8 or 9 of them so far, and we're adding more and more as we go along. Another one that I really, really love is to do the Grand Alpine with Golden Eagle and pairing that up with our Venice cruise. You can also do an itinerary with Golden Eagle in the Balkans paired up with the Venice cruise. So Paris and Venice are 2 of those locations that just tie in really, really well with a lot of those rail itineraries. And just recapping back on the cruise and tour luxury gold itineraries as well, we touched on 2, but we also have these cruise and land combinations in other parts of the world as well. And I just wanted to highlight Portugal and Spain. I think this is going to be very, very popular for the Australian market. Nobody is going to Portugal to do a 7-night cruise on the Douro and then coming straight home. They're doing Spain and Portugal by land as well. So I think to be able to do a 20-day itinerary, again, it's one booking for you guys. Dates magically line up, and then they get to do the whole Iberian Peninsula with one product. I think is going to be phenomenal. And then also to do Switzerland with Luxury Gold, which that Luxury Gold itinerary actually includes the Glacier Express, which is on my bucket list. So I haven't been on a Luxury Gold itinerary yet, but that's at the top of my list. But to be able to do Switzerland and to see the Alps, and then either pair that up with a cruise along the Danube or a cruise along the Rhine as well. So lots and lots happening. These are all from 2027. They're available to book now, but they will come into effect in 2027. And we will be adding more and more and more on. And I think importantly with Luxury Gold, all of the existing itineraries, nothing is going to change there. So the itineraries in Japan and in Canada and throughout Europe and in South Africa, that's all going to remain the same. We're not changing anything in terms of the product. We're just bringing their product and their operations team under the Uniworld umbrella now. So the name may change, but the product itself is going to remain the same, and it's going to be very, very consistent. So just to sort of round everything out, I'll send out all of this information as well, but for those of you that aren't set up on our online booking portal, River Currents will get you logins. I always recommend people just to call our reservations team. They are phenomenal. They're all based in Sydney. They know all of the ships and all of the itineraries inside out. It's so much easier just to give them a call. Your commission will be the same, so that's not going to be affected if you call or if you book online. But if you are confident in the product and find it easier to book online, we'll absolutely get you set up on our online booking portal if you're not already. And I'll also send around, for those of you that are outside of Victoria, I will send around contact details for your local reps as well. So if you're in Queensland or WA, you've got the lovely Shelley, and in New South Wales and South Australia, we've got Susan up there covering that territory. So we'll send out their details as well. And other than that, we've managed to finish right on time, which is very unusual for me. Thank you so much for coming along and listening in. I hope you've taken away a little nugget of information. This was just like dipping our toes into the itineraries that we've got beyond the river. So there's lots more. They're all up on the website. But if you've got any questions or anything about them, feel free to reach out to me, reach out to your local reps. We are happy to help. And look forward to some bookings coming in.
Thanks, Tiff.
Thanks, Georgina.
Does anyone have any questions before we go? Otherwise, I'm going to upload the webinar to our new ATAC portal for anyone else who wants to watch. And it'd be great if you can send us some collateral on the luxury gold, particularly the rail combos. Yeah, that'd be great.
We'll do, yeah.
Awesome.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to groups and things like that, so obviously, you're combining with the old Insight and all of those type of things. Is there going to be a specific group department for those combinations, or is it the same area that you go to with it? Like, what's the minimum required? Things like that.
It's going to be, it will end up falling under our groups department. So we're still working out the logistics, because with Uniworld, obviously the group size in Europe is 10 packs, and then you get your group discount and your tour conductor credit and everything along with that. So I think they're still finalising what groups will look like on the land components. But if you do want to book a group on these cruise and land itineraries, or on luxury gold as a standalone, it will all fall under the Uniworld groups team. So I can send you that.
That'd be
contact
good.
Michelle.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. That was a question I had. And can the groups be already done for 229 or not yet?
Yeah, we can work it. We can work it out. Yep.
Thank you.
For actually, while we're on this, that's just jogged my memory as well. Just for 2026, we're obviously in this transition period. So for 2026 bookings are still going through the TTC tour brands team. But from 2027, it'll be Uniworld that you call. But if you call one or the other, they'll transfer you to the right person. They'll get you on the right person for the right year. So 2026 is still a little bit of a transition period, but from 2027 it's going to be smooth sailing, I hope. Pardon the pun.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you.